I just wanted to speak with you today about the WELL design framework. WELL design is, it was designed by the IWBI, which is the International Well Building Institute. And that is a public benefit corporation whose mission is to improve human health and well-being through the built environment. I'm trying to figure out.
So Kate, we're good on the screen now. So
okay.
I have your slides here. Can everybody see the slides?
I'm just trying to make sure I can see all of you. I feel like I'm looking at a lot of things. I'm trying to look at you guys and look at my slides and look at my notes. Okay, so what we're talking about today then is what is human-centric design and why is it important? We need to clarify the distinction between traditional interior design and wellness design. Traditional interior design, you're familiar with celebrity A-list designers like Martin Lawrence Bullard and Kelly Wearstler. And they are these amazing creative artists who know how to make everything look incredible. And that's fantastic. And I would love to do that if that were where my talents lie. But I have decided to really focus my energy on a more holistic approach to design. And what that means is that I'm prioritizing wellness interventions for my clients' homes. I'm using the built environment as a vehicle to support health and foster well-being and comfort in the home. Now, it's all still got to look good. That's priority. Priority number one. It's still got to look good. It still has to come in on budget, on time. It still has to meet all of the criteria of traditional interior design. But we are prioritizing holistic well-being while doing so. And the reason for this is that we spend, in this country, in America, we spend an average of 93% of our time indoors, which is a pretty staggering percentage of our lives. So it's super important that our built environments where we are indoors are safe and healthy. And I think, you know, in times of coronavirus, we're all acutely aware of the risks of indoor air and the risks of our buildings. It does go beyond that. Some of you may have heard of sick building syndrome, which is real acute illness that cannot be explained by anything else other than day after day, time being spent in a building that is effectively toxic. And unfortunately, this is the vast majority of our buildings as they are without remediating them. So, you know, for a long time, we've been working to remove toxic materials like asbestos and lead, mercury, things like that from our buildings. Now in interior design, we're taking it even further and we're looking into what kind of furnishings and finishes we are bringing into our homes. Interiors fundamentally can either make you sick or we can use them to encourage healthy, more active lifestyles and reduce our exposure to harmful chemical pollutants. So our goal is to modify or upgrade your living space so that it is more beneficial to your overall well-being. You can go to the next slide, Felicia. So, oops, I mixed them up. Maybe you could go back one slide. So why the WELL building standard? Okay, we started about 10 or 12 years ago with LEED. Some of you who are environmentally conscious might know about LEED. It is the gold standard for energy conservation and sustainability in buildings. And WELL takes it one step further. This is all run by the same umbrella family of the Green Building Council. And the difference is that the WELL building standard takes a human-centric approach, and it marries the best practices in design and construction with evidence-based health and wellness interventions. So if you can go to slide 4, Felicia. Thank you. So WELL, okay, so WELL design is a framework, okay, and what it accomplishes is improvements to your nutrition. If you can believe it, your interiors actually impact that or have the potential to. Fitness, mood, sleep, comfort, and your overall performance. So at Sandalwood, we don't worry about getting our buildings certified by the WELL building standard. That's something that is more applicable to commercial spaces, but we are applying these principles as the gold standard to the interiors that we design. Okay, you can see here the sort of tenets of the WELL framework. Okay, it's a global standard. Okay, it's being used all over the world, especially in Asia and Australia. They were first adopters. North America, it's going very well. In fact, the first school system is now in a pilot program to meet the WELL standards for interiors, which I think will be great for our kids, especially during this pandemic time. So there are 7 concepts for the WELL framework for achieving healthier living, and they are air, water, nourishment, light, fitness, comfort, and mind. Okay, and each design feature correlates to the body's systems. Now, the WELL standard is all backed by medical research and scientific research, and then it's integrated with design and building standards. So this is all evidence-based research. And what they've done in teaching it to me when I was sitting for my exam is they correlate all of these design features to the human body systems. So although we might know that our indoor air quality is affecting our respiratory system health, what lay people and most people won't realize is that indoor air quality is also impacting our cardiovascular system and our endocrine system, our immune, integumentary, and nervous systems. Okay, so obviously we have limited time today, so this is just an introduction to all of this. I mean, it's just a vast field. But today we're going to try to just introduce 3 of the 7 features of WELL design. We're going to talk about air, light, and mind as they apply to your living spaces, and then we can take some questions at the end. So you can go to the next slide, Felicia. Okay, these are the concepts that I just mentioned. Okay, so the first one, air. Obviously, clean air is critical to our health, and thankfully in this country, we have government regulations and monitoring in place. We see problems in Asia and India regarding air quality and some South American cities, right? So we're very lucky to have these regulations in place because air pollution is the #1 environmental cause of premature mortality. Okay, I actually didn't realize that. I thought it was water, but it's actually air pollution. The trouble is that our indoor air quality can be 2 to 5 times more polluted than our outdoor air quality. Okay, and this is where these interventions become so critical, because indoor air can be degraded by outdoor sources when we open our windows or through our HVAC systems. But it can also be degraded by off-gassing from building materials, indoor combustion sources like your furnace, your boiler. Water leaks can compromise indoor air quality if they are allowing moisture and mold and bacteria to grow. And then there's surface contamination, which has been in the foreground of discussion lately with COVID. The accumulation of germs on surfaces can actually compromise our indoor air quality. So poor ventilation can fail to address and fail to protect us from these indoor air polluting sources. So we have to watch for VOCs. You've heard of volatile organic contaminants, and other toxic compounds. There's, radon, carbon monoxide, PFCs. Also, as I mentioned, microbial pathogens like COVID-19 and others, okay, MRSA, staph, these things. But rather than focus on the negative, we're gonna focus on our improvement opportunities, okay? So we need to remember three things. We need to remember first, pollution source avoidance, okay? So we're going to try not to bring in stuff to our house that's going to pollute it. Okay, then we need, number two, to be aware of proper ventilation. And number three, opportunities for air filtration. Okay, so these are our strategies for improving air quality in our homes. You can go to the next slide, Felicia. Pollution source avoidance. Okay, it sounds simple, but it is more challenging than you realize, or you may realize. Okay, we need to avoid toxic materials because most of our exposure to environmental pollutants occurs indoors. And in fact, 72% of that exposure occurs in our own homes. Okay, through household cleaners, adhesives, any of that IKEA furniture that's glued together. If you've bought a sofa that isn't properly joined in the traditional furniture making ways, it could be glued with a chemical adhesive. Carpets, flooring, paints, the list is long, synthetics, resins, sealants, finishes on floors, polyurethane finishes, off gas, flame retardants in your mattresses, okay, upholstery, if you've got any kind of Krypton fabric, or some Krypton fabrics are green, others are not. Cabinetry, if it's not solid wood, if it's some kind of laminate, what is it? What is it held together with? And what kinds of chemicals were used in the process of making it? There are concerns about ventilation systems themselves. What kind of combustion do they use? Boilers and things. Sometimes combustion occurs in your kitchen when you're cooking. It can seem very overwhelming. What we have to do is prioritize the more dangerous pollutants. Okay, we can't get it all. I know Marie Kondo wants us to get everything out of our homes, okay, but that's just ultimately gonna fill up our landfills. So not trying to do that. Just want to encourage people to make more conscientious and mindful purchases going forward. I am a certified green accredited professional with the Sustainable Furnishings Council. They are a wonderful resource. You can go on their website at sustainablefurnishings.org and get a plethora of information on eco-friendly manufacturers to help you make conscientious choices. And the general rule of thumb is that if something is healthy for the environment, it's going to be healthy for our bodies. Okay, I've yet to encounter a conflict with that rule of thumb. But please let me know if you discover something that's green but not healthy for us. The other thing that you can find on that website is, and I think I have it on the next slide, Felicia, if you want to change that. Yeah, they're the second one down, sustainablefurnishings.org. They have a guide of questions that you can ask before you make purchases. And it's a wonderful guide to find out if your furnishings and furniture are coming from sustainably harvested forests, if they are cradle to cradle certified, anything like that. Same resource at, well, not the same resource, but an additional resource is at the UL Green Guard site. Spot.ul.com is also a wonderful resource if you're thinking about purchasing something and you want to look up how healthy it really is. That's a great starting point. Okay. I just would encourage you all to explore what it is that you're bringing into your homes. Now, what to do about what's already there? That is the big question. What have we purchased throughout our lives or acquired that may not be so great for us? I mean, off-gassing diminishes over time, but the reality of it is that we live with toxins in our homes. One strategy we can do to remediate this is actually to paint. I see that Nicole, so happy you were able to join us today, and Nicole Ruffing from Sherwin-Williams. I was going to recommend Sherwin-Williams Harmony paint line because it is so outstanding for its formaldehyde reducing technology. It actually, if you paint your walls with this Harmony paint, it helps reduce the levels of VOCs that are already in your room. From everything from building materials like insulation to carpets, cabinets, fabrics. So I would highly recommend doing that. The advances in paint technology in the last several years are remarkable. They've also come out with antimicrobial and microbicidal paints, which are another possibility for these actually can kill bacteria and germs on contact. And they've made them safe enough. They're, the microbicidal ones are actually registered with the EPA. They've made them safe enough that they're not leaching anything into our environments. They're just killing the germs on contact. So that's something you can consider, especially during these scary times. Another strategy is, and this would be more for new purchases, but to choose naturally antimicrobial materials like wool for rugs, okay? Even though a lot of people want to do banana leaf or bamboo. You know, that's great, but those do not have the antimicrobial properties of wool, okay? Also, non-porous materials like porcelain, okay, might be something to select rather than something porous like marble, okay? Because then you're bringing in a sealant to seal your marble, okay? So you might think, oh, I've got all natural materials in my home, marble and granite, natural stone. But the question then is your sealant safe? Okay, we need to find out what that's made of. Okay, so in my mind, I would rather specify porcelain or stainless steel or something that's going to be non-porous to begin with so that we don't have to add that additional layer of sealant. Likewise, you need to watch your cleaning methods. You know, trying to stay away from toxic chemicals. We all know that. Okay, the second part, the second facet of air quality is proper ventilation. Okay, so this is really about your HVAC system. okay, if you have one, and your operable windows, okay? When LEED came along years ago, there was a big push for energy conservation, and I think energy conservation is wonderful. The catch is you don't want to seal up your house so tight that your building envelope has improper or inadequate ventilation. So you really need to have a discussion with your HVAC professional to ensure that the air is properly flushing at the proper volumes through your home. Okay, your system needs to be regularly maintained and tested and balanced. Okay, because those professionals have the rates and requirements and guidelines that are correct for the area of your home. Okay, older homes without HVAC systems, you will be thinking about things like exhaust fans, okay, and operable windows. You know, we just want to make sure that we are not trapping all of these toxins in our home. We do need the fresh air, okay. That being said, this depends on the quality of the outdoor air. Now, when we live in a place like Darien, Norwalk, Stamford, along the I-95 corridor, the New York metro area, I get a little concerned, especially on humid summer days, about the quality of the air. Not every one of us has the ability to test the levels of dangerous chemicals in our ambient air. So that brings us to the next phase of air, and that would be air filtration. Not all of your HVAC systems are going to have activated carbon filters. That's something to be discussed with your HVAC professional. They can usually be installed or upgraded. It depends on the system. If you are not able to make use of an activated carbon filter or a particulate filter, like a MERV filter, you may want to consider a standalone air purifier, okay? We've heard of HEPA. HEPA filters are in our vacuum cleaners. They're wonderful. Those are particulate filters. There's also new technology, even better, to filter out even smaller particles. It's called a pico filter. It's not in vacuum cleaners yet that I know of, but it is in a little filter called the molecule filter that you can, it's a standalone product that you can buy. It's a little expensive, but it's outstanding. And the important thing, it comes in different sizes because you need to always make sure that you have the right size filter for your space. The other thing I'd say is if you're not going to get an air filter for every room in your house, you might consider getting one for your bedroom because we spend a third of our lives asleep. So that would be my recommendation there. Okay, Felicia, you can go to the next slide. How are we doing on time? We okay on time?
Well, we have about 5 minutes. That's
okay. That's great. So, okay, the next thing that I want to talk about is light. It's one of the tenets of well design, one of the concepts, and we all love natural light, love walking into a space that is sunny and bright. It feels good, but it creates some secondary issues that we just need to consider when we're doing our design. So one concept that we consider within the realm and framework of light is circadian lighting design, okay? You've heard of circadian rhythm. That's what my little slide here shows. It's our 24-hour body clock, basically. And one of the most influential drivers of the circadian system inside us is light, Okay, it's through photoreceptors in the eye. It starts in the brain, and it regulates physiological rhythms throughout all your body tissues and organs. Okay, it affects your endocrine system, your hormone levels, and your sleep-wake cycle. Okay, circadian rhythms are kept in sync by various cues, but light is a biggie. Okay, and the body responds to it accordingly. So lights of high frequency and intensity are going to promote alertness, while dimmer light is going to signal your body to reduce your energy expenditure and prepare for rest. This is why they say, oh, don't bring your phone or your laptop to bed, because that blue light wavelength from your handheld devices is actually signaling your body to stay alert. Okay. Sometimes people are surprised to learn that all light can affect your circadian system. Some people just assume it's a 24-hour clock, and it's based on the solar cycle. And that's true, it is, but not entirely. So why is this important? It's important because 50 to 70 million American adults have chronic sleep or wakefulness disorder. Okay, we all know the horrible health effects of chronic sleep deprivation. So that's one reason the circadian cycle is important. But multiple physiological processes, including the endocrine system and the digestive system, are also regulated by hormones involved in the circadian cycle. So since so much of our time indoors, because we spend so much of our time indoors, insufficient lighting design or insufficient illumination can mess up your circadian phase. Okay, there are different codes and guidelines for different rooms for illumination based on the activities in those spaces. Starting to run out of time here, but one thing that I wanted to just mention is that during this quarantine lockdown time, we are all sort of making our spaces adaptable. And one thing that's often overlooked is lighting design. When you need your guest bedroom to be your office as well, one thing that can really boost your effectiveness and productivity is to have adequate task lighting for your daytime activities, and then install dimmers. And so that anybody who needs to use the room for rest can do so appropriately. So it doesn't look like you're walking into an office, you know, when your house guest comes to sleep over. So installing dimmers throughout your house is a biggie. I don't want to run out of time for questions, so let's just go to the next slide. These are some strategies that we can use to you know, help us. Sorry. In my picture here, I've just pointed out the different layers of lighting. You've got ambient light through your windows and overhead lights. You've got, and table lamps, and then decorative light on the wall there. And task light is the next layer. The other thing I'd say in this picture are the window treatments. Being functional is a biggie, because we need to control that solar light as well. Okay, I think I've talked enough. The last little thing that we ran out of time to get to, I was going to talk about biophilic design. This is just about the mind aspect of the WELL building standard, and it's basically all of the health benefits of promoting a reconnection to nature. Okay, you can see here, I mean, there's actual data supporting the benefits of doing this. So anything you can do to facilitate views or reconnecting to natural patterns in your textiles, your wall coverings, planning for outdoor living and gardening, integrating some of that plant life into your home. These are all very beneficial for promoting wellness. Okay, I think I've talked enough. Anybody have any questions? I know I just threw a lot of information out there.
Okay, no, it was great, Kate. I'm going to, if anybody can, either you can unmute or put your questions in chat. I actually just wanted to start with one question while we're,
Sure.
other people are asking. You know, there's this whole, I've been seeing lately just about the UV equipment that they're specifying for, so because some people are saying, are you going to get that for your office? So I just want to,
you know what that is, and you have done such an incredible job at HAYVN, Felicia, but UV germicidal lights can actually help with air sanitization. They actually kill bacteria and viruses. So people are looking for UV lights to clean high-touch surfaces, as well as eradicate bacteria and viruses that could be harbored in HVAC systems. So you can have little handheld UV lights for cleaning doorknobs and light switches and keyboards and stuff. And you can also have like your HVAC system maintenance person can also use UV lights to clean out your systems. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely a big deal right now with coronavirus. And I would strongly encourage it. I mean, it's the most it's really the only kind of sanitization that's going to kill viruses that we know of.
I'll probably ask you some more questions afterwards. But
sure.
Okay, so Scarlett says that she has a question.
Hi, Scarlett. Good to see you.
Same here. So I wish you had presented 2 weeks ago, because we just finished painting our son's room and getting new furniture. And I know the furniture cannot be it has to be with the bad stuff in it. How long does it take for it to dissipate? There's no smell, at least, but.
That's good. That's good. If there's no smell, that's very good. Okay. I'm not sure. I would be untruthful if I said I know for sure, because it's going to really depend on the actual materials and you know what compounds are actually used. I think when we've done that, you know, I mean, we've all picked up stuff from IKEA that's held together with adhesives. I mean,
better than that.
You know, it happens. I think a strategy, and one that I've used before, because I have purchased synthetic rugs and things. I have a dog, and you know, it's just one of those things. I've had to do a cost-benefit analysis, right? But just keep your windows open, run your fans, and I really would recommend getting a standalone air filter. If you're concerned that this furniture is going into a bedroom, get a standalone air filter. I mean, you don't have to buy the $800 molecule air filter. You could get a very effective HEPA filter, you know, from Home Depot, and it's going to help a lot.
I do have a HEPA for my air conditioning system.
That's good.
Okay.
That's very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Samantha had a question, and I can read it. And Samantha, if you want to unmute for more, what are the top strategies to retrofit an older apartment or home? That's a good question.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Top strategies to retrofit. I mean, I'd say the first thing I would do is paint with the advanced engineered paint. I mean, Harmony from Sherwin-Williams is, you know, it's scientifically proven to reduce VOCs in the air. So that's a good one. One of the biggest concerns I find with older homes is moisture and mold, the potential for moisture and mold. If you have, you know, windows and seals that might be broken, that's something to keep an eye on. You know, you can do things like run dehumidifiers, and the other, to try to get a handle, you want to keep your humidity between like 30 and 50%. That's sort of an ideal healthy level of humidity in a space. But I think that, you know, older homes are tricky, and you have to watch for, you know, lead-based paint, chips, things like that. You want to make sure no asbestos is ever getting disturbed. Trying to think what else. I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you very much.
Sure.